Hey there, it's Teresa here, and thank you for joining me. I'm Teresa Youngkin. I'm a healthcare informaticist, which means that I like to take the concepts from technology and the concepts from our business and healthcare, join them together. I do a lot of translation, making sure that we are building the best products possible for our customers. Well, I'm sure that the title intrigued you. Let me start this with the story. I'm in Mexico on vacation. We have been having a great time hitting the sun, hitting the sand, being on the beach. And lo and behold, yesterday morning I wake up and my lips are 3 times the size that they normally are. Well, traveling to Mexico and eating foreign foods and traveling is just kind of part of my ilk. I've never had an issue before. I wake up, the first thing I do is I look at my husband, I go, "Do I look funny to you?" And of course he says, "Oh my God, what just happened to you?" So we quickly run down to the hotel store. I get some Benadryl, I take it, make a phone call to some friends of ours and say, "Hey, like this just happened. What do you think?" They said, "You know what? You should probably go to the ER." I have to say that it was really interesting just from an informaticist point of view, going to a different ER in a different country to see what the treatment was like. We jump into the Uber, we get to the hospital, it's like maybe 10 minutes away. We walk through the front doors, we are greeted by a reception desk. The first thing they do is they say, "Can you fill out this paperwork?" Same as the US, right? So I fill out the paperwork. It was very minimal. It was literally my name, my insurance, and who my emergency contact was, and who my physician was in the US. It was very short, very simple. Filled it out. They took a credit card. I put down a deposit. It was about $500. They put a hold on the card because they were going to charge me after I was done. So perfect, right? Like, I don't mind doing that because then I know exactly what my charges are going to be. There's no surprise billing. I'll know exactly what I'm paying for when I leave here. I was there for about 5 minutes. The nurse came. She took me back. She explained what was going to happen. She was going to take me back to the room. She was going to do her vitals. Then the doctor would come. This was all disclosed to me as we're walking down the hallway to the bed in the emergency room. We sit down. She takes my vitals. She asked me a couple of questions. She asked me about my allergies. I have a lot of them, so I try not to get sick. So I gave her my phone, which I pulled up my portal and had all my allergies there from my MyChart. She took them all down. She said 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, the doctor will come in. The doctor came in. She was very pleasant, very nice. She asked me about the different things, asked me what I'd been doing. I explained to her that we've been here for about 4 days. We were having a great time. Went out to dinner the night before. I woke up in the morning. Both my lips were swollen. And as I told my husband, I don't have any other signs. I looked down and I had broken out into a rash. And then I told her I went down and got some Benadryl. We got into the Uber. So I took just a second, had to rearrange because the sun is starting to come up and I can't see anymore where you are on the screen. So this last week I was going to talk about all the new improvements that have come up. So we've heard of OpenAI Sora, which is their video piece. I'm sure that everybody's seen that little clip on the news this past week. But the other thing is Google's DeepMind. They came out with Gemini 1.5, and that uses a mixture of experts of architecture. Now, what is that? You can lower your costs by doing an architecture that uses a mixture of models, and you can actually program your algorithms to use the right model at the right time in the right context. Does this sound familiar in healthcare? Of course it does. So what each one of these models does is that it does a couple of few tasks and they start to ladder and to improve, because if you remember like the token issue, you get so many characters per token. You can start to build out your knowledge base and put that in the back. You don't have to use your tokens because like now you're building this knowledge base that the AI can actually tap into and then use to do their calculations and produce outputs for you. So very, very interesting stuff. So you can actually use fewer tasks when it comes to those larger language models, that you don't have to use up all your tokens with that. So it's an efficiency. My architects out there know what I'm talking about. I thought it was just like super interesting because Google DeepMind is actually went across context. So what they did is they took a silent movie and they processed it through, and even without words or context, the AI was able to analyze the movie and to draw out conclusions just by what people were doing. Of course, I think about AI in the terms of healthcare, and I thought to myself, like, what if you could actually take some of the video footage that we have where maybe communication breaks down, relationship building breaks down, just by body language, and asking the AI to help us process that? Because when you look at those things, the AI is not looking at human emotion, which we can put in whenever we're reviewing these tapes, right? So could you look at this in your patient workflows so that you can improve those processes based on the body language of the patients, rather than waiting for them to fill out a survey 30 days later, right? You could actually capture it in the moment and maybe have the AI process what that looks like and provide suggestions on improving the experience for the patient right at that point of care. Again, our recollection becomes faulty after a while. We know that. And we also know that we can be influenced in emotions at the moment, and having an AI come in and look at the workflow itself without the emotions may be a great way for us to use AI in this context. Now, the other thing that I thought was super exciting about Google DeepMind is like now it gives us 1 million tokens. So that's about 750,000 input and output of text characters. Now, in comparison, what we've talked about before is Claude 2, and Claude 2 has about 150,000 tokens. So they were kind of like the second front runner at that point in time. And just for comparison, and let's say context, if you were to take the prior auth rule, the prior auth rule is made up of 246,000 words. Let's say on average, that's about 6 characters a word. So, you're still not going to have enough because you're over like 1.5 million characters, which is not going to get you to the tokens that you need. So we got a little ways to go before the models will actually let us put in that whole rule, read it and analyze it and spit it back out to us without us having to chop it up into pieces. Well, it's really, really interesting that there are some really cool things going on in AI right now. And if you think about a year ago when I started this series on AI, there has been so much growth. I mean, we were back using 4,000 tokens a year ago, and now 4,000 for OpenAI, which was like the largest language model and generative AI engine that we had out there, right? 4,000 tokens, and at this point in time, we are up to almost 1 million tokens. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy how much it's grown. This is going to be such a game changer in our industry and everything that we're doing. So, as I said, as I'm thinking about the ER experience that I had in a different country, including, Googling the medication because I didn't recognize it, very, very interesting. So, as you're thinking about this, I really want you to think about, what models are you going to use? What kind of investments are you going to put into this AI development? And are you thinking about text? Because that's how we thought about it before. But now we can use text and video, or video only. So as the market grows and the capabilities grow, how are you going to grow to be able to make sure that you're using the right AI at the right time to give you the right output each and every time in your workflows? So, hey, I'm going to get back here, my sunglasses, back into vacation mode. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll be back here again next week where we're going to be talking about some more AI. And let me see if I can get you guys just a beautiful view of what I'm looking at. Hopefully you can see. Amazing. So I'm headed back to vacation. I'll catch you guys here again next week where we're going to be having another conversation about AI in healthcare. Peace.